In Generation 2, we were introduced with the method of friendship evolution. Friendship evolution is triggered by how much the trainer and Pokemon have bonded with each other. There are many steps that can be done in order to heighten the friendship between trainer and Pokemon. Some of these methods include leveling up the Pokemon in battle, moving around, or providing the Pokemon with presents from various NPCs. Friendship evolution for me though has played a huge part in my Pokemon journey because the bond between me and those Pokemon is more special than the rest. I mean, think about it. The key to evolving those kinds of Pokemon is based on loving and respecting them. Not to mention the trainer is constantly protecting that Pokemon from almost anything that can harm them. These Pokemon, I can guarantee I had to do that several times throughout my Pokemon career, but in the end, they made me a lot happier when I actually acquired them on my team because of the bonds we shared and hardships we had to go through. Today, I will be discussing those memorable and cherished moments with my top 5 friendship Pokemon. If you guys have your own top 5 friendship Pokemon, be sure to share them in the comment section below. I would love to hear some of the amazing backstories you guys have with them. With all that being said though, let's hop on the friendship. This Pokemon was by far the hardest Pokemon to evolve throughout my entire childhood. Zubat's starting moves are by far some of the worst starting moves for almost any Pokemon to get. Zubat doesn't start getting good until it learns Wing Attack, and by then it becomes a lot more fun to use, especially once it evolves into Golbat. The struggle of evolving Zubat though is what makes getting Crobat so special to me. As a kid, I had Zubat faint in battle several times, and in the end it still loved me enough to evolve. I see this one as a rough start, but because of the struggle, it makes it that much more of a special bond between trainer and Pokemon. So this Pokemon is a tad different than the others mentioned on this list. I say this because this Pokemon was not meant to be on my team. When I was around 7 years old, my mom had bought me Pokemon Crystal for Christmas. Prior to Crystal, I had played Pokemon Silver, so I had a lot of Johto knowledge from my previous journey. One thing that I did not know though, was that you could get an egg from the daycare man of a random baby Pokemon. Once I had received this egg from the daycare man, I rushed to hatch it because I was really eager to see what was inside of it. Finally, after minutes of biking around, the egg had finally hatched into a Cleffa. I remember seeing Cleffa for the first time and wondering what this Pokemon was because I was never able to see any baby Pokemon from Pokemon Silver. I decided to put it on my team to test out how it did. And boy did it pay off because it evolved into one of my favorite normal types, Clefairy. I was very shocked to see it evolve into Clefairy because I remember the only way to obtain Clefairy was through Generation 1 trading, or waiting all the way until the after game when the player had access to Mount Moon. Cleffa unexpectedly evolving into one of my favorite normal type Pokemon really made me love it, and it made that friendship evolution a lot more appealing due to the surprise I had no idea I was going to get.
They're the Pichu brothers, but I'm sure
this next Pokemon falls into similar conditions as Cleffa, but I already knew about its existence thanks to the Pokemon 3 special involving the Pichu brothers. This movie short is honestly my favorite out of all the movie specials. I remember how helpful the Pichu brothers were to Pikachu when he got lost in the city. The adventures they went on were honestly so fun to watch as a kid. Not to mention the Pichu brothers were able to get all the other Pokemon to work together during the one scene when the tower was falling down. I honestly thought it was really admiring to see baby Pokemon take charge in terms of having other Pokemon working together. When I hatched my egg of Pichu in Pokemon Crystal, I knew that I was going to love evolving it into Pikachu. Having the Pichu on my team really reminded me of the friendship the Pichu brothers had with Pikachu and for the other Pokemon. I knew that my Pichu, Pikachu, and I would have that same level of friendship. Back in 2007, when Diamond and Pearl were first released, I remember spending quite a bit of time in Eterna Forest because of all the double battles the player must do with Cheryl in order to progress. As I was going through the forest, I ran into this rabbit-like Pokemon that honestly made my jaw drop because of how cute it looked. I knew that I had to have a Buneary on my team. After catching Buneary, it was literally the only Pokemon I trained throughout my Sinnoh journey. Buneary literally evolved within a few hours of me catching it, and when it evolved, I loved it even more. I remember participating in several of Hearthome City's contests with my cute Lopunny, constantly winning nearly every single one I entered. Lopunny was considered as the contest queen in my copy of Pokemon Diamond. So this last one was kind of obvious, huh? Yeah, Umbreon is number 1. Umbreon is number 1 for quite a few reasons. One reason is because it's my mascot, and the others, well, they play a big role in my childhood. As a child, I would go through some very depressing times, and even to this day, I still do. What do I do when I am depressed? I play Pokemon. A lot of it. Especially Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Almost every time I play through them, I wind up getting an Umbreon on my team. The friendship evolution with Eevee evolving an Umbreon honestly lights up my life because of the bond we share every time I evolve it. I feel whenever I get an Eevee, I can feel it telling me it will be okay. When I see the rings light up, I can feel the depression fading away and it makes me feel warmer inside. Thank you, Umbreon, for being an awesome friend and a great mascot. Well, that pretty much wraps up my top 5 friendship Pokemon. As you guys can see, these Pokemon have played a very big part in my life and they have guided me through some tough times in my real life and in my Pokemon career. What kinds of friendship Pokemon do you guys like though? What kinds of impacts have they made in your life? Share with me in the comment section below. I would love to hear some of the amazing history you have with these Pokemon. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and share this video with a friend. With all that being said though, I've been Mystic Umbreon, and I will see you in the future for more Pokemon content.